Well, we have just got to the co-main event of, this whole TKO Riyadh season. Canelo v Crawford, right? So, the co-main event is Fernando. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Fernando Vargas Jr. El Ferrozo v Callum the King Walsh, right? Callum 14-0. Fernando is 17-0. Right? They're both very good fighters. Callum has fought the probably the higher competition, and he's the more experienced out of the two, really. There is some bad blood. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but there is some bad blood there, right? And so, this was a big fight. Callum's also a champion, but it's one of those belts that people don't necessarily consider as top tier, which is, it's always very weird. Right, there's so many titles floating around, and it's just like, okay, wait, but you don't consider. So what's the point of it, right? It's all very odd. But Callum is a champion of sorts, and this fight, right? Callum had the reach, and what it seemed like was he's kind of playing with his food a bit, because, and don't get me wrong, Fernando landed some good shots. He did land some good shots throughout this fight. But whenever Callum turned it up, you like, the difference was huge, and he was just landing some really good jabs and, a few body shots, uppercuts, he put together small combos, but nothing big. And that was the issue, that there was a lot of one shots, two shots. There was no consistent barrage, right? There was no big combination to really push home an advantage. Like, he had his guard down a lot, right? And I can't remember in his previous fights it being as low as it was in this one, which I don't know if Fernando had said he's gonna knock him out or something, so Callum's like baiting him. I don't know if it's that, but yeah, the guard was really low at points, and he took shots where he didn't need to take the shot, right? If the guard was up, he's not taking the shot, right? So that was a little odd, it's keeping the fight closer than it needs to be. But yeah, he would turn it on and just, win a round, right? Like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think people kind of know who Callum is, right? I think fans of the sport know who Callum is, but the general public doesn't. And this was that moment. You're on a huge card, your co-main event. So people are tuning in, like people that didn't really care too hard about everything, they're probably tuning in at the co-main event stage. Maybe not at the beginning, halfway through though, right? Because they want to catch the Crawford Canelo. So this is the opportunity. You put on a great performance, right? And they're going to be playing that highlight over and over again, So regardless of what time the people tune in at, they will see the highlight, right? They'll see your big finish. And, it's solidifying your name, right? It is creating a ground surge that people are just like, God damn, Callum Walsh is crazy. He's so good. Oh man, I've never seen him fight. I'm gonna make sure I watch his next fight, right? That's what a big performance would do. But this was a little lackadaisical, right? I wouldn't say that he, underestimated Fernando, or, he wasn't, he didn't train or not motivated. But it's just, I feel he was just like, let me get some rounds in, right? I don't want to take too many risks, because Fernando can crack, right? He does knock people out. I think all his fights up to this point had essentially been finishes, okay? So he can crack. So it's just a bit like, well, I know I can outpoint him. So why take the risk? You know what I mean? I kind of feel that might have been the fault. Which, look, he's still undefeated. He got another win. But it just wasn't crazy inspiring for the average fan. Right? It wasn't the fight that gets people to tune into his next one. Right? That turns a non-fan into a follower, right? That wasn't the fight. So, it is a shame. It is an opportunity lost, but with him keeping on winning, he will get on another card. Like, he's going to get on another big card, and he will get another opportunity to shine. So, I think he will learn from this and, step it up a little bit, right? And it doesn't even have to be a finish, but if it's just him turning it on, roasting a motherfucker, you know what I mean? Then that's the thing. That's enough, right? That's enough for people to be like, yo, okay, I'm on this dude. This dude's crazy. So yeah, that is it. But we're now at the main event, people. Our headline fight, and I cannot wait.